cross over the state line into portions of Arkansas. So likely portions of Ashley County, you'll likely get some portions of this stronger storm as it moves off towards the north and the east, but likely the bulk of that storm has moved through portions of East Carroll, West Carroll Parish at this time, and it's likely tracking into Arkansas right now. But as we turn back to this new warning we just got issued, this is for portions of Union Parish until 2:30 p.m. Now, if you remember, we were on earlier talking about this line of stronger storms that we were tracking, and it had the potential to produce some active weather. Well, this is part of that line that's pushing off towards the east. This is what we were talking about earlier that could produce some active weather as we head into this afternoon. We already have our first issued tornado warning of the afternoon along this line. There haven't really been any others issued along this stronger line, but some of those discrete cells for portions of Jackson and Washita about an hour or so ago, that's where we started to see some active weather. But now as this line progresses further eastward into the Arklamas, that's when we're starting to pick up and tap into that potential to see active weather. So this is an ongoing situation, and we'll continue to keep you updated as this area of rotation is now right on top of Farmerville. So if you are located in the Farmerville area, the area of rotation within this storm, the strongest portion of this storm is moving through your location right now. You're likely picking up on some heavy rain and heavy winds as this continues to push off towards the north and the east. So let's go ahead and put a track on this warning that we have going for portions of Union Parish at this time, moving off towards, let's see, 1 second here, if we can't get a report on how fast this storm is moving. It's currently moving off towards the northeast at 50 miles per hour. So as we put that track out there, we're talking about places like Marion at 2:23 p.m., Meridian at 2:45 p.m., Cross at 2:50, and then Hamburg at 3:04 p.m. So DeVonte, what have you noticed with this active weather we've seen this afternoon?
Really, it's as these storms move into a more favorable environment and we tap into a little bit of that sunshine that's allowing for these storms to thrive and blow up across the Arklamas, and that's really what we've been seeing this afternoon. And we also have strong wind shear in place, and that's what allows these storms to rotate, and that's why we are seeing some of those tornado warnings in place across the area. But we still have 2 tornado warnings in place across parts of the Arklamas. We still have that one that we was just talking about not too long ago over in parts of Morehouse as well as East and West Carroll parishes. But we are now tracking this tornado warning that is in Farmerville. This cell is located over Farmerville, tracking towards the northeast at 50 miles per hour. Fast moving storm. You need to be in your safe place in the lowest interior part of your home, away from windows. Here's a few communities that this storm will be impacting. We have Kenville around 2:14, Marion and BFU around 2:24, and we're looking at Meridian around 2:46. Again, this storm is tracking towards the northeast, and not only is this storm capable of producing a tornado, but it is also producing heavy rainfall, and it's also a lot of lightning associated with this storm. So all in all, even if there's not a tornado on the ground, this storm is still bringing impacts, and so you need to be in your safe place away from windows until we give you the all clear. Again, a tornado warning is in place until for areas like Kenville, Marion, and this storm is tracking towards the northeast. Do you have anything else to add, Abby?
I would like to mention about this tornado warning we were tracking earlier for portions of West Carroll Parish. The likelihood of this storm still being active for your parish is slightly lower as that area of rotation has pushed off towards the north and the east. It's crossed the Arkansas border, so it's no longer likely a threat for portions of West Carroll Parish, but there still is a stronger portion of this storm moving through your area, but likely that rotation has exited. So that is some very good news for portions of West Carroll Parish. But as we turn back to this new warning we just got issued for portions of Union Parish until 2:30 p.m. This afternoon. So we've got another 15 minutes on this warning. It's popping up pretty quickly as we continue to track this storm off towards the north and the east along this line. This line is where we're watching for the strongest potential for severe weather, including tornadoes. This is the first tornado warning that we possibly could see this afternoon. We do have an enhanced level 3 out of 5 risk in place for the entire ArkLaMIS. Now, I want to see, is this storm? No, it's not producing any hail at this time, but it is very strong, likely seeing heavy winds and heavy rain at this time if you're located in portions of Union Parish near Farmville. So it has a pretty good signature on it. So let me move it towards the right a little bit more so you can see it better on the boxes. We have this storm that we are watching. It's not a confirmed tornado, but we're continuing to watch it as it moves off towards the north and the east going into the next 15 minutes. Likely this rotation we're seeing where those reds and those yellows and pinks are coming together. That's where we're watching for the possibility of a tornado where that rotation is forming near Farmville. So if you are located in the Farmville community, you want to be in your safe place, lowest level interior spot of your home. This is where the strongest portion of this storm is located, going to progress off towards the northeast into portions of Louisiana Highway 33 and portions of Marion. You're going to pick up on this strong storm within the next few minutes. So as we put a track on this storm, like DeVonte mentioned, it's a fairly fast moving storm off towards the northeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. So Marion 2:25 p.m., Rogers 2:44, Meridian 2:48, cross it at 2:55, and then Hamburg at 3:10 p.m. Now, if this storm doesn't hold together and they do let this tornado warning be dropped over the next few minutes, we will continue to track it as it will likely still be on the stronger side. But as of right now, we do have some pretty tight rotation on this storm moving in near Farmville. That's where the strongest portion of the storm is. So if you are located in Union Parish, I want you to be in your safe place, lowest level away from windows. And if you have something you can cover your head with, go ahead, take that with you as you head in to shelter away from the storm. So DeVonte, any updates? Have we seen anything?
No updates regarding the tornado warning. It is going to continue until 2:30. They're agreeing, we're seeing some comments in the National Weather Service chat agreeing that there is some decent rotation with this cell that we are currently tracking that is moving northeast between Farmville and Marion. And this storm is also producing heavy rain, so it is likely a rain-wrapped system, and so you will not see any rotation. And I highly advise you do not go outside and try to, like I mentioned earlier, sightsee. It is the time for you to get in your safe place, lowest interior part of your home away from windows. Right now, this storm is radar indicated. This is not a confirmed tornado, but this is still something to monitor as we do have some rotation with this storm.
Okay, well, like DeVonte mentioned, they have been hinting at what I have been seeing, which is some tighter rotation within this storm. Now, I did want to take a wider view real quick, show you what else we've got going on. We've got this line of strong storms that's continuing to push off towards the north and the east, just off towards our northwest. This will continue to move in as we head into the afternoon. We can't rule out a few more tornadoes as this line moves Dixon. This is the first one we've seen be issued this afternoon. As this line continues to progress eastward, we possibly could see the extension of this warning if it continues to hold together. Now, I did want to take a quick look at this West Carroll Parish warning, because they still do have that one out for about another 30 minutes. So let's see what's going on with this storm. Okay, so we're still seeing some broad rotation near the Kilbourne area, just north of Highway 586. So if you're in that area, this is where we're likely seeing some broader rotation. Still nothing confirmed yet, but it's likely a stronger portion of this active storm that's moving through. The bulk of the storm has already moved into Arkansas at this time, so I wouldn't be surprised if after the next 5 minutes or so that they allow, or the next 5 to 10 minutes, I should say, they allow for this storm for West Carroll to be ended, as the storm has moved mainly off towards the northeast into portions of Arkansas where that stronger rotation is located. DeVonte, any updates?
No update specifically regarding those 2 tornado warnings, but just keep in mind we have more showers and storms that are back off towards the west. So although you may not be seeing anything now, we are monitoring this line that is back off towards the west. But right now our main focus is the 2 tornado warnings that we currently have in place that are impacting parts of the Arklamas. This one is right near Farmerville and Marion, where we're picking up some heavy rain. This storm is tracking towards the north and east around 50 miles per hour, a fast moving system. If you're in Marion, it'll be at you at around 225, Meridian 246, Hamburg around 306. And I am calling out some locations that aren't within this warning, but if this storm holds together, it will impact you around that time. So it is a good time to get in your safe place, away from windows, lowest interior part of your home. A basement is a good place to shelter when there is a tornado warning in place. Looking at rotation, this is what we look for to see signs of rotation within the atmosphere. We see the dark orange and the bright yellows. That's what we are looking for in terms of rotation. It's broad for the most part, but we have to continue to watch and see how it holds together as it tracks towards the north and east. But because we do have some rotation in place, this is why we are telling you to get in your safe place now, because we do have that tornado warning in place. We do have a tornado watch in place across the entire Arklamas through this afternoon. So that's why I mentioned not too long ago, we have that line back off towards the west that we are constantly watching as well as we go throughout the afternoon. So do not let your guards down through the afternoon and even into the early evening hours as this system shifts towards the east. But right now we do have this ongoing tornado warning in place for Marion until 225, Meridian until about 246. Another thing I want to point out is these storms do not take a perfect path, a perfect track. So the times that we are giving you could be a little bit on either side, a little wiggle room on either side. It could be 220 or 230 for Meridian, and that's why we encourage you to get in your safe place right now and not wait until the time sneak up on you. But this will continue to track towards the north and east at 50 miles per hour. Any updates, Abby?
Not too many updates, DeVonte, but they're saying that it may go just miss Marion towards the south, so it may move a little bit towards the south, this active storm. But still, if you're in Marion right now, safe place now. The storm may impact you as it continues to push off towards the north and the east. So that's our latest update, DeVonte.
Oh, okay, thank you for that, Abby. And I do want to go ahead and point out the line that we are constantly tracking or continuously tracking this afternoon. As you can see, it is spawning not only severe thunderstorm warnings, but also we have 2 tornado warnings that are in place for parts of the Arklamas. And like I said, although many of the Arklamas isn't dealing with any severe weather right now, areas to our east, all of this will continue to track towards the east, and we'll eventually see more warnings as we go throughout the afternoon. All right, I'm going to step off the screen just to take a closer look at some of the areas that are in this warning right now. Take a closer look. And as you can see, again, it is producing heavy rainfall. This storm is producing heavy rainfall. And so now is not the time to be on the roads, to be standing outside or relaxing on the patio. Now is the time to be in your safe place, lowest interior part of your home, away from windows. And this storm is producing gusty winds. And so even though this storm is not dropping a tornado at this moment, it is still bringing gusty winds to your area, which is why you want to be away from windows in the lowest interior part of your home. But we are seeing some rotation with this cell. It is not tight rotation, but the rotation is still there. And this cell is just south of Marion and northeast of Farmerville, tracking towards the northeast at 50 miles per hour. Any updates, Abby?
We don't have any current updates, on this storm, but I did want to touch on this West Carroll storm. West Carroll, this storm is beginning to exit. You still, for the northern portion of West and East Carroll Parish, we still have that stronger storm that's beginning to move through portions of Kilbourne at this time, but likely all of that rotation has exited your area. So the threat for West and East Carroll Parish is pretty much over at this point, though I think they'll still keep that tornado warning for the next few minutes, but it likely will be ended over the next little while as the storm continues to progress off towards the north and the east and exit the Arklamas. So the main storm we're going to be talking about now is going to be this Union Parish storm that's moving just towards the south of Marion. That's where we're picking up on some of this rotation, just towards the south of Marion along Louisiana Highway 33 and 143. That's where some of this rotation is beginning to develop. It's pushing off towards the northeast at a fast rate, so it is a very fast moving storm, moving at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Once again, this is not a confirmed tornado, but they have enough radar indicated information to say this is likely a strong storm producing some rotation that we'll want to watch. 232 for Dean, Upper Washita National Wildlife Refuge at 235, Meridian 251, Crossit at 259, and then we're going to be seeing Berlin at 3:10, and then Hamburg at 3:17 p.m. So this is still a pretty strong storm, and we just got the latest update. That first warning is going to be expired at 2:30 p.m. So within the next 5 minutes, they have extended this downstream. So let's take a look right now and see what our current updates are on this storm. Still for Union Parish, portions of Louisiana. Moving northeast at 50 miles per hour, radar indicated. Flying debris will be a danger as the storm continues to progress off towards the northeast. Places impacted include Marion, Haley, and Linville as the storm progresses off towards the northeast. This new warning goes until 2:45 p.m. So we've got another 20 minutes on this storm as they just have extended that further into Union Parish. DeVonte, any updates?
No updates other than what you just provided for us. Now the cell or the rotation, as you can see here on velocity imagery, has shifted towards the northeast. Not too long ago, it was just back off towards the south and west. That just goes to show you how fast this cell is, and which is why we are telling you to get in your safe place now, regardless if there's a tornado on the ground or not. Right now, Marion, this cell is right over you, tracking towards the northeast at 50 miles per hour. Some other areas that this storm will be impacting: Dean, you should be in your safe place now. It'll be at you at around 229, Meridian around 245, and we're looking at Hamburg around 305. Notice
areas that I'm calling out are not in this polygon, but also keep in mind this cell is tracking towards the north and east. And so if it does hold together, then it will impact you within the next 15 to 30 minutes, which is why I provided those updates in regards to those locations. But we are monitoring this rotation that is near Marion. You can see the dark oranges and yellows. That's what we look for when we are looking at rotation with these storms. And again, all of this is tracking towards the northeast. The warning that we did have in place till 2:30, it will eventually expire within the next 3 minutes. But notice we have this new polygon that is in place. It's a small polygon, but if this rotation keeps holds together or tighten up, we can see this be extended further towards the north and the east. Abby?
So I just wanted to give an update. They are going to go with a tornado warning into Morehouse as that circulation moves out of Union Parish.
Thanks for that update. So as she mentioned, they are going to go with that as that circulation moves into Morehouse. And so we are monitoring this. We are staying with you through the afternoon as these storms continue to track across the Arklamas, keeping you up to date of what's happening so that you are weather aware. Right now, we're still monitoring this tornado warning that is in effect, that is impacting Union Parish, but this cell will continue to track towards the north and east, impacting other communities. Abby?
Okay, well, like DeVonte mentioned, this is continuing to track off towards the north and the east, a fast-moving system at about 50 miles per hour. And like I said earlier, this storm is likely going to be extended as the circulation moves into Morehouse Parish. So if you are located in Morehouse Parish, be preparing that this strong storm is on the way as it continues to push off towards the north and the east. It's just towards the east of Marion. So as we put a track on this storm, moving off towards the northeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour, 235 for Dean, Upper Washita National Wildlife Refuge at 2:42 p.m., Venice at 3:07, Meridian 3:13, and then Pine Grove Church also at 3:13, Robinson at 3:22, South Crosset at 3:26 p.m., and then the Carousel School at 3:27 p.m. So if you are located in any of those areas, safe place now. Make sure you have something to cover your head, away from windows, lowest level interior spot. We're still continuing to see some tighter rotation with this storm just off towards the east of Marion, moving closer towards LA Highway 143. This is where we're watching for the possibility of a tornado. It has not been confirmed at this time, but it is something we are going to continue to keep you updated on, as this likely has some radar indicated rotation. So as we take a wider view of what's going on here in the Arklamas, we've got this active tornado warning. Then behind that, we've got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings out for pretty much all of our western parishes at this time, as this line continues to progress off towards the east. Now, as it continues to do so, we'll likely see some stronger storms within this system produce tornadoes, as it will hone in to unstable air as it continues to progress off towards the east. So I did want to take a closer look. We still got 15 minutes just about on this West Carroll storm, but they may just let it go until 2:45, but all of that area of rotation has exited your area. You're likely just dealing with some lighter showers at this point, as we can see on velocity right there. Stronger portion of that storm now just north of Kilbourne into portions of southern Arkansas, just just east of Ashley County. So that's some good news for you in West Carroll Parish. You're likely done with that strong storm for now, but we're still going to track stronger weather into this afternoon. And just as a reminder, we still do have this active tornado watch until 9 p.m. tonight for the entire Arklamas, as strong storms will be possible. I suppose after this line moves through through that they'll likely begin to drop these watches because of the weakening system. So as this line continues to push eastward, if you are behind that line at this point, you're in the clear. We're likely going to be seeing nicer conditions going into this afternoon. Now they have trimmed back this warning a little bit. Still, the strongest portion of this storm is just east of Marion, moving near the Dean and Gravel areas at this time. So as we take a look at rotation, just east of those areas, that's where we're beginning to see some of that tighter rotation forming along that line in that very strong storm. So DeVonte, have there been any updates with this system?
No more updates regarding this system. There's issuing a so a severe thunderstorm warning will be issued for Jackson, Washita, and Union parishes downstream of the current line, but regarding the tornado warning, no details. Okay, we just
they just extended it.
Yes, they just extended that tornado warning into Ashley County in Arkansas and Morehouse Parish in here, of course, in Louisiana. Looking at the rotation with this system, it is a little bit tighter than what it was a couple of minutes ago as it tracks towards the northeast. Right now, it's located northeast of Marion, and so if you are in the path of this storm, you need to be in your safe place right now. Lowest interior part of your home, a basement, anywhere away from windows with walls in between you, and a helmet, anything that can protect you from any flying debris if anything does come into fruition. But we hope that, as we go throughout the afternoon, these storms do not stay organized as they are. But right now we are watching this rotation with this one cell that is just northeast of Marion that does have a little bit of rotation associated with it.
Yes, like DeVonte mentioned, this cell has seen some increasing potential for the possibility of a tornado as that rotation continues to tighten. I did want to mention that this new warning for portions of Morehouse and Ashley go until 3:30 p.m. this afternoon. So we've got about another hour with this storm. So let's take things back and show you what we've got going on. We've got this line of strong storms pushing into our area. We've been hinting at the possibility of a few tornadoes going into this afternoon, and well, it's really occurring at this time as we're seeing this stronger storm move through portions of Union into Morehouse and then into Ashley County in South Arkansas. As for this storm in West Carroll Parish, you still got about 10 minutes on it, but all of that has exited the West Carroll Parish area. That stronger storm now into portions of Mississippi and into portions of South Arkansas. I think they're still going to keep this warning up until 2:45, but all of that weather has begun to exit your area, and we're still just watching for the stronger stuff behind this system that is continuing to push eastward. Now, I did want to just mention they did just extend this severe thunderstorm warning into portions of Washita Parish. This now includes the city of Monroe. Let's take a look and see when this goes to. Now, this is in association with that line of stronger storms that's producing this active tornado in Union Parish, moving into Morehouse and Ashley County. This does have a tornado possible tag on it, so be alert for a possible tornado. This goes until 3:30 p.m. for portions of Jackson, Lincoln, Washita, and Union Parish at this time. So be alert for an active tornado with that severe thunderstorm warning as the strong line of storms makes its way into the Arkansas. So now as we turn back to this storm, we've got a few more minutes with this tornado warning for portions of Union Parish, but continuing to hold its strength, moving off towards the northeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Gravel in about the next minute, so get in your safe place now, away from windows, lowest level of your home. Meridian 2:56 p.m. Rawls at 3:05. Raleigh Junction, excuse me, at 3:10 p.m. Berlin at 3:16. Kimball at 3:28, and then Wilmot at 3:32 p.m. So if you are located in any of those communities, the strong storm is continuing to work off towards the northeast. So stay in your safe place. As we take a closer look at velocity right now, we just got in a new scan over the last few minutes. Well, things are still showing that we do have some rotation moving along the Union Parish Morehouse Parish border, but it's beginning to broaden out, I would say. DeVonte, is that what you're seeing?
Seeing it broaden out a little bit. I'm looking at the weather chat right now from the National Weather Service and Jackson, and they're noticing, okay, seeing a tornado debris being picked up for parts of existing Union Parish and for the Morehouse line right now. So we're not seeing much in terms of rotation, but when we look at the correlation coefficient, this is what we use to determine any possible debris. Right now we're seeing a little glimpse right there, not necessarily means that there is debris being lofted up in the air, but that is something that we are watching, and this is something that we look for when there's debris being lofted up into the air. But when we go back and look at velocity, it's not showing much in terms of rotation. It is quite broad across parts of Union Parish, but then notice this purple, that is the edge of the radar beam, and so it is crossing over into the Jackson radar, and so we start to see the rotation be not as defined when you get closer to the end of the radar. So we still have to watch as it crosses over with this cell, but right now we are watching for the possibility of some debris. You have anything, Abby?
I just wanted to mention that they are continuing to monitor this tornado debris signature that you mentioned earlier on correlation coefficient, what we use to determine debris being lofted into the air. This is likely where the strongest portion of this storm is located, along the Morehouse and Union Parish border, moving just off towards the north of Rogers and Beekman off towards the northeast. It's likely a fast moving storm. So let's turn it back to velocity, see if we've got any good signs of rotation. Not seeing the best signs of rotation right now, but once again, we are on the very edge of that radar. So let's turn things over towards the Jackson radar and see if we can't see if there's a better image of this ongoing rotation. So still seeing some what looks like to be broad rotation with this storm. Once again, along the Union Morehouse border, moving off towards the north and the east, just northeast of Marion at this time. We'll continue to keep you updated with this storm as we go into the 3 p.m. hour, as the storm stays active until 3:30 p.m. That's when that storm will likely be allowed to expire. So as we turn things back to debris tracker, we're still seeing areas of debris being likely lofted in this storm just off towards the northwest of Rogers, right along the Union Morehouse border. So if you are located in that area, safe place now, away from windows, lowest level of your home. Get something to cover your head as you head in to take shelter away from the storm, as the storm is likely lofting some debris in there. We can see it based on those greens and yellows, where that's likely the strongest portion of this storm. Like they mentioned in the National Weather Service chat, they're beginning to be able to pick up on this tornado debris signature on both the Jackson and the Shreveport radar. So likely some debris being lofted in the air with this storm. But I wanted to take a little bit of a wider view now, still tracking off this line towards the east. This line is likely what we're going to see some of those stronger storms beginning to feed off of as we head into this afternoon. We do have multiple active severe thunderstorm warnings along this line. Pretty much all of our western parishes at this time underneath a severe thunderstorm warning. So you likely could see a tornado possible within any of these severe thunderstorm warnings as they continue to track off towards the east. So DeVonte, do we have any updates?
No updates from the National Weather Service. I've been checking it throughout the afternoon, and right now I'm not seeing any updates regarding the current tornado warning that is in place. But as we've been mentioning, there is the possibility of debris being lofted up based off of correlation coefficient or correlation, what you're seeing right here. But velocity imagery is not showing much in terms of rotation. So this is something that we are watching with this tornado warrant storm. If you are in this polygon, you need to be in your safe place until we give you the all clear. We cannot rule out, or not rule out, but we cannot forget about our friends off towards the south. We have several severe thunderstorm warnings that are in place, and these storms are capable as we go throughout the afternoon of producing a tornado, as we do have an environment that is conducive for tornadic development. So that's why you need to stay weather aware throughout the afternoon until we give you the all clear. But right now, our main focus is this tornado warning that is in place until, I believe, it's 2:45, correct, Abby?
Yes, I believe that's correct, 2:45.
Oh, okay. And so that's is what we are monitoring as this storm make its way into parts of Morehouse Parish, northwestern corner of Morehouse Parish, as well as into Ashley County in Arkansas, south of Crossett.
Actually, the storm is until 3:15.
3:15. Thank you for that
The portion that goes
clarification.
into Morehouse and Ashley.
Yes. Okay, so the storm that's moving into Morehouse and Ashley is in effect until 3:15 this afternoon. So you need to be in your safe place if you are in the path of this storm. I am going to put a track on this storm. It is moving quite fast at 50 miles per hour. And so I do want to put a track on that. So moving northeast at 40. So it actually slowed down just a little bit. So we're going to put a track on this cell. And see, again, you cannot really see much in terms of rotation, but there is a possibility of a rotation with this cell. And so I am going to put a track on this storm. It is moving towards the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Are you getting any more updates from this storm, Abby?
That we are beginning to notice in the National Weather Service chat that there's some stronger rotation on Jackson's end.
On Jackson, okay. So stronger rotation is being picked up on the Jackson, the radar from the National Weather Service office in Jackson, as we do operate between Shreveport and Jackson. And so once it gets over the radar over in the National Weather Service in Shreveport, we turn to Jackson, and that's where Abby is noticing some stronger rotation, correct?
Correct. Let me get you, they're saying south, east of Chatham, south of Washington is likely where they're picking up on some of this stronger rotation for, excuse me, that's for that storm that just exited West Carroll Parish at this time. But they still are noticing some broader signs of rotation beginning to tighten in Morehouse, as well as that tornado debris signature.
Okay, thanks for that update, Abby. And again, you know, we're tracking several severe thunderstorm warnings, and right now we only have one active tornado warning that is in place, with more possible as we go throughout the course of the afternoon. But right now, our main focus is this tornado warned storm that is impacting parts of Morehouse in Ashley County this afternoon until 3:15. Abby, you have a track on this storm?
We can put a track on there, DeVonte. Let's see what we've got going on the storm. Let me turn it back to Doppler 8 radar. DeVonte, how fast was the storm moving?
It's moving at 40 miles per hour.
So it has slowed down just ever so slightly, 40 miles per hour off towards the northeast. We're talking about places like Robinson at 2:55 p.m., Rawls at 2:59 p.m., Berlin at 3:10, Wilmot 3:23 p.m., Parkdale at 3:28, Sunshine at 3:32, Portland at 3:36, and Montrose at 3:41. So if I have listed your community, you'll want to be in your safe place at this time as the storm continues to move off towards the north and the east, and it likely does have some debris being lofted in it. Looking a little bit weaker right now, but still seeing what likely is some debris being lofted into this storm on a radar right now as it continues to progress off towards the north and the east. Slightly looking weaker, moving north towards Highway 133 and portions of Highway 425 at this time. So that's where we're tracking this active storm. We still could see some broad rotation we're on the very edge of the Shreveport radar. So let's turn things over to Jackson's radar and see what we've got going on there. Jackson's radar still showing some broad areas of rotation in those areas I mentioned earlier, but we're on the very edge of the Jackson and Shreveport radars at this location, so we're not going to get the best view of what's going on at this time, but just know that we've got a tornado possible moving through portions of Morehouse and Ashley counties in South Arkansas at this time, moving near Rogers, just towards the north of Beekman. Robinson, you'll likely be next. Vaughn, you're going to pick up on some of that stronger weather in just a few minutes, and then Rawls as we head into the Louisiana and Arkansas border, and then we're talking about places like Berlin if the storm continues to hold together. DeVonte, have they put anything else out?
No more details. They are agreeing with us. The fact that the radar, we're far away from both the radars or the position that we are in. And so it's really hard to tell whether there's tight or broad rotation with this storm, but just know that we do have some rotation associated with this cell that is pushing towards the north and the east, and that's why we still have a tornado warning in place, and so that's why you should get in your safe place, lowest interior part of your home, away from windows.
Yes, like DeVonte mentioned, lowest level away from windows. If you have something to cover your head, take that with you as the storm moves off towards the north and the east. Now, I did want to take a little bit of a wider view, see what else we've got going on. Just towards the south, we're continuing to watch this line of stronger storms pushing off towards the east. We've got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings out for the arc limits, pretty much covering all of our western parishes at this time. But places like El Dorado, you're in the clear right now as this line of storms has already passed your area. But anywhere eastward, this strong weather is still to come as we head into this afternoon. But after this line begins to exit your region, we'll start to see a lot of drier weather heading into the overnight hours for tonight. Now, all of these warnings along this line are going to have the possibility of a damaging wind gust, heavy downpours, a lot of lightning in these storms. They could also produce a tornado warning like this storm in portions of Morehouse and Ashley County have done. If you remember this storm, it moved through Union Parish earlier today, closer to the Farmerville and Marion communities, now continuing to progress off towards the northeast, slowly moving through the area, slow down just ever so slightly down to about 40 miles per hour off towards the north and the east. So as we put a track on this storm, Robinson at 2:59 p.m., Rawls at 3:05, and then 3:08 p.m. Elon Church, and then at 3:21 Berlin, and then 3:33 p.m. Overflow National Wildlife Refuge. If one of our directors could pull it up, can we pull up the tower cam and put it into view so we could see that real quick? We want to get a view on that as some of these stronger storms are just beginning to enter the city of Monroe. Clouds are beginning to build in. We can hear rain just on our roof and rain coming down on the tower cam at this time. So some noisy weather is moving into the city of Monroe as we've got that active severe thunderstorm warning for your area, but still tracking this tornado warning just off towards the north for Morehouse and Ashley County. DeVonte, any updates on the storm?
Waiting to see that someone is typing now. New tornado warning coming for central. Okay, so a new tornado warning will be issued for central and the southern parts of Morehouse. Bastrop is in the line with this evolving circulation.
Okay, thank you, DeVonte. So this storm is still showing signs of rotation, and they're going to put what looks like to be a downstream tornado warning, correct?
Yes, coming for central and southern parts of Morehouse Parish.
Central and southern portions of Morehouse. Do we have any idea of when this is going to end?
No.
Okay.
Still waiting on updates.
Yeah, so we'll wait until that tornado warning, that new warning has dropped, but we're still dealing with this current warning out for Morehouse and Ashley counties until 3:15 p.m. So we've got another 15 minutes on that storm. Okay, so
it just dropped.
They just dropped it, including the city of Bastrop now. They're seeing rotation on the south side of that other storm. Is that what we're seeing?
Yes.
Okay, so we're watching now two areas of a rotation along this line. Just south of where we saw rotation earlier, they're beginning to hint at a second area of rotation, moving closer towards central and south portions of Morehouse Parish at this time. So I'm going to put things on the Jackson radar right now, so bear with me for a second because we are on the very edge of the Shreveport radar at this time, and we'll be on the very edge of this Jackson radar. But where are you seeing this rotation, DeVonte?
Yeah, the rotation is quite broad with this system, and I think it is due to the fact that we are on the edge of the radar. And as I'm looking at velocity right now, I'm not seeing much in terms of rotation, just a lot of noise with the wind aloft, but it is still something that we are watching because, again, as I mentioned earlier, the atmosphere is conducive for possible rotation. Now, looking at velocity, Abby, it does look like there's possible rotation just outside of the polygon, just south and west of Bastrop. And then notice to the north, we're starting to see a little bit of rotation with that warning that is pushing into
Ashley County. And so that's why we do have those tornado warnings in place. The second tornado warning is in effect until 4 o'clock. So we have quite a while with this warning that is just south of the first warning. And this second one does include Bastrop, Oak Grove, until 4 o'clock. So if you are in this polygon, get into your safe place right now.
Yes, I did notice that they extended it into West Carroll. You just had another first strong storm move through, but that second strong storm is about to come through within the next hour. Tornado possible until 4 p.m. radar indicated, as we're seeing some broad signs of rotation. This is some of the same rotation that they were talking about just a little while earlier in our National Weather Service chat for Shreveport. They were suggesting that there was likely some rotation just north of the Sterlington area, and this is likely the same rotation that has issued this tornado warning now out for Morehouse and West Carroll parishes. DeVonte, do you have anything to add?
No, just monitoring the National Weather Service chat. But right now, as we mentioned, rotation is really broad with both of these tornado warned storms that are in place for, let's zoom out so you can take a broader look. These tornado warnings are in place for parts of Ashley County, as well as a tornado warning is in place for parts of Morehouse Parish, and much of Morehouse Parish actually is in a tornado warning. A second one was just issued south of the initial one, and this is in place for areas like Bastrop, Oak Grove, and will continue to track towards the north and east. All of these storms are tracking towards the north and east at a fast pace. And so with that being said, if you are in this warning, in this polygon, you need to be in your safe place until we give you the all clear. We're not seeing tight rotation with these storms. It's quite broad. You can see this rotation just south of Bastrop. How broad the rotation is, get on the air and point it out for you. This rotation right here is what we are watching. Again, it's broad, which is what we want to see. We do not want tight rotation with these cells, because as these storms get its act together, that's when it leads to the possibility of a tornado touching down. In this case, we have broad rotation with this storm, but because we do have rotation, we are monitoring this cell as it tracks towards the north and the east. But we also have the cell off towards our north as well, with these two tornado warnings that we are currently watching. Abby, are you seeing anything in terms of possible debris? I know we have broad rotation, but what are you seeing right now?
Nothing really on signs of debris. Likely that tornado debris signature we saw earlier for portions of Morehouse and the borderline of Union Parish that has pushed off towards the north and the east, likely not showing any more signs of strong signs of debris at the moment, but we still could have something lofted up in there. So that is something to keep an eye on, but still just seeing some broad signs of rotation, which, like DeVonte mentioned, that is some good news with the storm system. We don't want any signs of tightening, as that means the storm is continuing to strengthen, but we're likely seeing signs of weakening at this time for both of these storms. Likely this second storm moving near the Bastrop area at this time. So let's put a track on that as it moves into communities like Bastrop. So once again, this strong storm is just south of our original warning. It is showing signs of slightly weakening, but it is still on the stronger side, as we do have this active tornado warning that goes until 4 p.m. So we've got another hour with this. So 3:10 p.m. for Log Cabin, Bonita at 3:27 p.m., Jones at 3:31, Kimball at 3:37, and then Wilmot at 3:41 p.m., and then Oak Grove at 3:47, and Kilbourne at 3:56. DeVonte, do we have any updates?
Currently, no updates from the National Weather Service. We just have severe thunderstorm warnings that have been issued across parts of the region. We still have those 2 ongoing tornado warnings that are in place. The one that's near Bastrop, tracking towards the north and east, and the one that is tracking into Ashley County in Arkansas. Another thing I want to point out, I'm gonna head on over to the key wall, is that although there's not a confirmed tornado, these storms are packing gusty winds that could cause damage. And so that with that being said, you do need to be in your safe place away from windows until these storms passes. They're also producing a lot of rain and lightning. And so if you are planning on heading out this afternoon, I would hold off on heading out this afternoon until we give you the all clear, just because not only there's a warning in place, but these storms are producing heavy rainfall and also the possibility of hail. Abby? Okay, we're starting to receive some reports of damage coming in through our National Weather Service chat. Reports of damage on Dean Church Road in Marion. A shop and house has significant damage, and multiple trees are down. Getting more reports of damage throughout the area as well. And this is again coming in from our National Weather Service weather chat. And so we are starting to get reports of damage across parts of the Arklamis. And this is why, folks, we tell you to get in your safe place, get away from windows, lowest interior part of your home when we have these tornado warnings in place. And even outside of tornado warnings, we have severe thunderstorm warnings as well, and they can cause damage to property as well as people. And so that's why we stress so much about being in your safe place. And right now, our focus is not just the severe thunderstorm warnings, but the fact that we have not 1, but 2 tornado warnings in place for parts of the Arklamis. As you can see, Bastrop is in this warning. Kilbourne, you're not in this tornado warning. You're on the cusp of the warning, but we do have to watch the trends with this possible rotation just to see how it holds together. Right now, we're seeing some rotation. It's broad, but we have some rotation near Bastrop, or right over Bastrop, and all of this is tracking towards the north in the east. And then that cell that is just north of Bonita, it is quite broad as well, but it is tracking towards the north and east. And because we do have some rotation, we are on air and online with you now, tracking these storms out as they work across the Arklamis. Abby, do you have any updates regarding what's happening right now?
It looks like they're going to continue the tornado watch for the western half of the area. This goes until 6 for the west half.
Okay, it's going into 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you
East half is until 9.
Okay, thank you for that update. And so this is what we are dealing with. We've been talking about the storm threat that we was looking at for this afternoon, and it is all unfolding across the Arklamis. We have not had any confirmed tornadoes, but at this hour, we have radar indicated rotation that we are seeing, as you can see, with velocity over at Bastrop, and then just far north of Bastrop with that second warning. A lot of rain with these storms. That's what we are dealing with, and also a lot of lightning. That just goes to show you how strong these storms are as they push through the region. As we go throughout the afternoon, we still have a lot of tornado watches in place, and those watches are in place because of the environment being conducive for tornadic development, and that's what we are seeing right now with those tornado warnings. I'm going to step off screen just a second, and I do want to put another track on the storm that is near Bastrop, or just over Bastrop. As you can see, that rotation right there, very broad rotation, but it is still there, and that's why we are keeping you posted on this tornado warning. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, go ahead and get in your safe place, lowest interior part of your home, away from windows. And again, this storm is in effect until what time, Abby? The one that is over Bastrop?
4 p.m. I believe, but let's get a check on that.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see here. This warning goes until 4, that's right.
Until 4, okay, thank you. And it's tracking towards the northeast at still 40 miles per hour?
Let's look at that. Northeast at 50, so it's
50.
going a little bit faster now.
And see, and this is another thing that I want to point out. These storms, they have a mind of their own, and you know, they can go speed up in momentum, they can slow down, and this is why we encourage you when you are in these tornado warnings to get in your safe place at the time and not wait until the storm has passed you. If we tell you get in your safe place, get in your safe place until we give you the all clear, lowest interior part of your home. So I do have a track on this storm right now. We're looking at Fisk around 336. Oak Grove, it'll be at you around 342. And then we start to get outside of the polygon. And although you're not within the polygon, this storm is still tracking towards your direction. So go ahead and have in mind or in place where you would go for your safe place, lowest interior part of your home, a basement, bathroom, a bathtub. All of those are good areas to take shelter when there is a tornado warning issued for your area. But we are looking at Kilburn around 351. And then as we go further out, 359 for Eudora. But right now, we do have this tornado warning that is in place with this cell located just near Bastrop, tracking towards the north and the east. And this warning is in place until 4 o'clock with this second tornado warning that we have in place. Remember, we still have that tornado warning to our north. Abby, any updates on the tornado warning that we have in place north of the second one?
Not any updates from that per se, but we do have some updates from that damage report you read off earlier. The fire department is out in portions of Union Parish. They're checking things out right now. No reports of injuries at this time, so that's some very good news coming out of Union Parish.
Thank you, Abby, for that. That is great news that we're not hearing reports of any injuries from the storms. And now is not the time, I do want to point this out, now is not the time to go out and assess any possible damage that may be in your area from severe thunderstorms that are moving through. We do that after the storms have passed. But right now we are monitoring the tornado threat that we have in place across the arc limits with these tornado warnings we currently have in place across parts of the arc limit. So if you are in Marouge, you have that cell that is located near your area tracking towards the north and the east. And like I said earlier, these storms do not follow a perfect path. They wiggle from side to side a little bit as they track in its intended path. And so with that being said, if you're within that polygon, anywhere within that polygon, you need to be in your safe place. And also with the timing, there's a wiggle room with the time, which means that just because we tell you Fisk, for example, to be in your safe place, or it'll be at you around 336. Do not wait until 336 to get into your safe place. Get into your safe place now, because this storm could arrive at you a little bit before or just a little bit after. But this is what we are working with for parts of the arc limits as that line of showers and thunderstorms work across the arc limits. Right now you can see a lot of rain, heavy rain associated with the storms that are tornado warned. And we also, if we go back looking at velocity, rotation is broad with these tornado warned storms, as you see right here over Bastrop. And then looking to our north, I wouldn't be surprised if this tornado warning that's north of Bonita, is expired before it supposed to be, just because rotation is very broad. But also keep in mind, we are between two radar beams, and so it's really hard to see whether there's tight or broad rotation with these cells, but we are monitoring the possibility of some rotation from what we have here on velocity, and that's why there is a tornado warning, and we are bringing you the latest details regarding that. So if you are in the path of these storms, be in your safe place right now until we give you the all clear. Abby?
Okay, well, DeVonte, I wanted to take a little bit of a wider view of these storms that are continuing to push eastward across the Arctic. We've still got this line of strong storms that's developing. Those two active tornado warnings that go, but one goes until 4 p.m. this afternoon. But as we take a broader view, we're still seeing those severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado possible with those as this line continues to progress eastward. But I wanted to give some good news out for our western communities. Our western communities like Union County, likely Union Parish at this time, Jackson Parish as this line, Lincoln Parish as well, as that line continues to push eastward. You're pretty much in the clear at this time. If that line has already exited your region, severe threat is done for the day, but still, we've got the eastern half of the area to go as we head into the afternoon, and we still do have the potential for some active storms heading into the rest of the afternoon as this line continues to progress off towards the east. We do have a tornado watch that goes in effect, that continues in effect until 9 p.m. for the eastern half of the area, 6 for the western half of the area. But like I mentioned before, after that line exits your area, the severe threat is decreasing significantly, and the threat is just towards your east. So that is some fairly good news for the western communities, and they'll likely begin to drop this tornado watch in the next few hours after we start to see more of this line push through the area. But I want to take things back to this active warning we've got for Morehouse and West Carroll Parish, correct, DeVonte? West Carroll?
West Carroll and just to be sure, West Carroll and not seeing West Carroll and Morehouse.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. West Carroll and Morehouse until 4 p.m. this afternoon. Let's check and see what we've got going on with this cell. Like DeVonte has mentioned, we're on the very edge of the Shreveport radar, very edge of the Jackson radar. So rotation going to look a little bit broader on this scan as we're looking at the Shreveport radar right now. Likely the strongest portion of the storm just towards the north of Bastrop, just west of Bonita. This is a look at the Shreveport radar, but let's turn things over towards the Jackson radar at this time, see what they're beginning to show. Still hinting at possibly some broad rotation just north of Bastrop. What did you say, DeVonte? Rotation just north of Bastrop?
North of Bonita.
North of Bonita, excuse me. That's where we're likely going to start to see some broader rotation with this storm. That tornado debris signature that we saw earlier has stopped, and we don't see that any longer on our debris tracker. So that is a good thing, showing that this storm just towards the north of this Morehouse, West Carroll Parish storm is beginning to weaken. DeVonte, do we have any updates?
No updates. We just have severe thunderstorm warnings coming in for Grant Wynn Parish for the Arctic, and that's about it.
We still have those tornado warnings in place though, and several other severe thunderstorm warnings that are impacting the Arctic this afternoon. These storms that are moving through, they are electric. You can see it right there on Doppler 8 radar. A lot of lightning and a lot of rain, heavy rain at that. And so the thing I always point out is, even if there's a confirmed tornado, you will not see it because it's rain wrapped. And that's why anytime there's a tornado warning, that's another reason why we tell you to just get in your safe place. Do not try to look outdoors and see what's coming and what's happening. You should be in your safe place, lowest interior part of your home, away from windows. I know you heard me say it several times. I sound like a broken record, but that is what you do when there is a tornado warning in place and the possibility of rotation or
a tornado within these storms that are moving through. And right now we do still have those active tornado warnings in place until about 4 o'clock. And you can see these storms are moving fast towards the north and the east. Looking at a broader view, back off, if we stop Doppler 8 radar, back off towards our west, it is dry. So you are in the all clear El Dorado, areas like Ruston, Farmerville. The severe weather threat is over for you, but we're still dealing with this line that is pushing towards the east. And like Abby has mentioned, you will see a lot of the severe weather threat diminish significantly as we go throughout the afternoon, as that line continues to push towards the east. But right now, our focus is still the tornado warnings that are in place right here for parts of Morehouse Parish, as well as parts of Ashley County in Arkansas. And we can see it here, rotation, very broad. Not seeing tight rotation, and that's what we love to see. That is actually music to our ears. In fact, music to our ears would be no rotation at all, but broad rotation is better than tight rotation when dealing with tornado warrant storm, and that's what we're seeing, broad rotation with these two cells that are tracking towards the north and east. But that is what we are monitoring this afternoon. Any updates, Abby?
We don't have any current updates with these storms, but again, I'm kind of picking up on the same thing you are, where there's just some weak rotation there.
Yes.
Very broad at this time.
And that's what we're looking at through the afternoon. Storms capable of producing a tornado. The environment is ripe for that because we do have a sufficient wind shear to allow these storms to rotate, allow these storms to produce a possible tornado. And that's why we have that tornado watch in place through the afternoon until 6 for our western communities and until 9 for our eastern half of the Arklamis. And so still stay weather aware throughout the afternoon. Like I've mentioned, areas towards the north in the west, you are in the all clear, but this line still has to work its way towards the east. And so we still have a little ways to go, a few more hours to go at least with these storms that are pushing through the Arklamis. But our focus right now, which is why we are currently on air and online, is the fact that we do have 2 tornado warnings in place for parts of the Arklamis. Yes, the rotation is broad, but when there's a warning, again, you have to be in your safe place because these storms could drop a tornado at any moment, and that's why the warning is in place. Abby?
Okay, well, DeVonte, I don't have any more updates from the National Weather Service over the past few minutes, but we're still just watching those active 2 storms. The one that goes for about another 45 minutes until 4 p.m. for Morehouse and West Carroll parishes, but that's pretty much all of it. I hear we're picking up on some heavy rain outside right now.
In fact, could we go to the tower cam, pull up the tower cam so we can see what's happening here in Monroe? Thankfully, we're not dealing with really strong, severe storms, or should I say storms are not really picking up as much here in Monroe, but the rain is definitely coming down, at least based off of what we are seeing here at the KNOE 8 station. But just because you are not dealing with much rain activity or much storm activity for areas towards the east, it does not mean that we will not see more severe thunderstorm warnings be issued throughout the afternoon. Right now, we're getting the latest scan with the current tornado warnings we have in place. Still not seeing much of in terms of rotation. Still broad rotation associated with this system near Bastrop. If there's any rotation, it will be right in this general area between Bastrop and Bonita, where we have the sort of kind of darker shadings of green and the brighter greens just north of Bastrop or around Bastrop. This is where the possible rotation would be situated this afternoon or right now. So be in your safe place until this warning expires or is canceled for your area. I'm going to step off of screen just to see if we have any latest updates regarding what we are seeing over the area right now. I'm currently not seeing any updates, just still getting severe thunderstorm warnings coming in for parts of the state of Louisiana. But as we go throughout the afternoon, more warnings will likely be issued for parts of the Arklamis as that line of showers and storms continue to work towards the east. Abby?
Okay, well, like DeVonte mentioned, we're still seeing some better signs with these two warnings that we have had issued for portions of Morehouse and West Carroll parishes, as well as Ashley County in South Arkansas, still showing some weak signs of a rotation, very broad at this time. If there's any rotation still in this storm that was first issued, it's likely beginning to cross over into the portions of Arkansas at this time. And then we've got this other storm that perhaps could be showing some signs of rotation between Bonita and Bastrop. So as we put a track on this storm, let's take it out. It's moving off towards the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Is that correct, DeVonte?
Yes.
Okay, 40 miles per hour towards the northeast. So as we put a track on this storm, let's see, we're talking about Stampley at 3:23 p.m., Gallion at 3:27 p.m., Bonita at 3:35 p.m., Frisk 3:46, Concord 3:52, Terry at 3:59, Kilbourne at 4:03, and Eudora at 4:12 p.m. And now some of those locations may sound very familiar to you. This strong storm is moving in a very similar path as to that last tornado warning that moved through portions of West Carroll Parish a little while ago. That took a very similar path. So if you were in that first path, you'll likely want to be in your safe place. DeVonte, anything?
Yes, the National Weather Service in Jackson will be expiring the tornado warning for Ashley and Morehouse.
Okay, like we've been saying, that one really not showing much on the way of rotation at this time. So they're going to expire that one. So we're left with this one tornado warning out for Morehouse and West Carroll parishes, showing some very broad signs of rotation. But as we take a wider view, we're still tracking this line of strong storms that's pushing off towards the east. We've got a few severe thunderstorm warnings issued out there across some of our western parishes. That's continuing to progress eastward through this afternoon. If you are behind this line, places like Union County, Union Parish, Lincoln Parish, portions of Jackson Parish, portions of Wynn Parish as well, you're likely in the clear at this time, as that line has already pushed through your area. But if we could, one of our directors pull up our tower cam and get that queued up into our system so we can take a look and see what's going on with these severe thunderstorm warnings that we have out for portions of the Ouachita Parish and the city of Monroe at this time. So right now you're taking a look at our Creed and Creed tower cam. This is what we're seeing in Ouachita Parish. A lot of thick clouds, a few rumbles of thunder, and some heavy rain beginning to move into the area. So you'll likely be dealing with the heavier rain over the next few minutes, and it looks like they may have just allowed that severe thunderstorm warning for Ouachita expired. Yep, they just canceled that one. So that is no longer a threat for Ouachita Parish at this time, which is a good sign, likely showing some signs of weakening. What do you think, DeVonte?
Oh, yes, definitely. A lot of this rain and storm activity, a lot of the storm activity rather, is starting to weaken the further west you go. We're losing that instability. But as we go towards the east, we still have an unstable atmosphere, and that's why we have several severe thunderstorm warnings as that line progresses eastward. We do, looking at the updates from the National Weather Service office in Jackson, they are continuing the tornado warning. Yes, they're continuing the tornado warning for Morehouse and West Carroll this afternoon, and it continues until 4. So we still have a little ways to go with this warning. Thunderstorm is capable of producing a tornado near Bonita, and it is moving east at 45 miles per hour. So it's that cell that we've been monitoring that have the broad rotation, and that's the cell that is currently pushing towards the north and east. I'm going to go ahead and put a track on this cell. And so again, it is located near Bonita, or 15 miles northeast of Bastrop. And so right here where we're seeing a little bit of that rotation, and it is tracking towards the northeast or moving east, excuse me, at 45 miles per hour. And this storm is capable of producing a tornado. And so you need to be in your safe place if you are within this warning right now. So I'm going to go ahead, and it looks like we are a little bit, there we go. Try to be as close as possible as we can be with this cell. And again, the warning that was the tornado warning that was in place heading into Ashley County is expiring. So although you do see that on your screen, it is expiring for the area. But right now our focus is currently the tornado warning that we've been watching that runs through or runs until 4 o'clock. We see this broad rotation. This cell is moving eastward, not northeast, but eastward at 45 miles per hour. So areas like Fisk, it'll be at you in about 15 minutes. We're looking at Oak Grove in about 22 minutes. Mayersville, about 49, Booth around about an hour away from you. So far out, but if you are in this general area within this polygon, you need to be in your safe place. Oak Grove, Kilburn, you're outside of this polygon, but we are seeing this storm track towards the east, and so you are in that general area, and which is why you should be keeping a close eye on this storm as well. But right now, rotation is very broad with this system, and we can see that clear as day here on velocity. Not seeing tight rotation, but we still have to watch this area of rotation to see if it tightens up. You can hear the rain coming down here in Monroe right now, but we're not dealing with any severe storms. It was canceled not too long ago, but currently we are dealing with this one tornado warning that is in place for parts of Morehouse and West Carroll parishes. Any updates regarding what's happening right now, Abby?
Not at this time. We're still seeing that area of broad rotation. I'm still watching that, but really not much to update at this time. Like DeVonte mentioned, they're going to allow that warning just towards the north for Morehouse and Ashley counties be expired likely by the 3:30 p.m. time frame, so in about 2 minutes, but we've still got 30 more minutes on this storm. We're seeing some broad rotation just towards the south of right around the Bonita area, progressing off towards the east. So as we put a track on this, it was moving at about 45 miles per hour, DeVonte?
Yes, towards the east at 45 miles per hour.
Okay, on our latest update, they're moving it towards the east at about 45 miles per hour. So we're talking about places like Frisk at 3:49, Concord at 3:55, Terry 4:04 p.m., and then Kilbourne at 4:09 p.m. Now, some of those locations are a little bit later than that warning is going for, but still, if you're in any of those locations, if this warning is allowed to expire at 4 p.m. or before that, you'll want to still be on guard, as this is a strong storm moving through the area. I did want to check real quick and see if this storm was producing any type of hail. It looks like the storm near Bonita may be producing some hail ever so slightly, likely pea-sized hail within this storm that's moving closer to the Bonita area. So if you are located in that region, lowest level away from windows, that's where we're seeing the strongest portion of this storm right now on Doppler 8 radar. The storm is continuing to push off towards the east, but as we take a wider view, DeVonte, are you beginning to notice that some portions of this main line are beginning to break off ever so slightly? We've got a little bit of activity just ahead of that line, I'm beginning to notice?
If taking a look, I see exactly what you are talking about. That line that is starting to push ahead of the initial line into our eastern communities. I am seeing it break apart just a little. Those are the type of cells that we have to watch closely because they work on their own as an individual cell, and that allows for those storms to thrive off of the environment that they are in. And so we really have to watch those cells closely if they continue to break freely from the apparent line of showers and storms that are pushing towards the east. But within that line that we have that's pushing through now, we are still dealing with that tornado warning that is in place for our northern communities.
So DeVonte is thinking the same thing I am. We definitely want to be concerned with the storms that are beginning to split off from this main line, that are beginning to move into that favorable environment in our eastern communities, south of the I-20 corridor. So be on guard for severe weather as we head into this afternoon for our eastern communities. On the eastern half of the Arklamas, you still got that active tornado watch until 9 p.m. I do have an update now. They are beginning to remove some locations from this tornado watch. Both Lincoln Parish as well as Union County in South Arkansas have been removed from that tornado watch. Now that tornado watch for the eastern half of the area goes until 9. Western half of the area you've got until 6, or they may let it expire sooner than that. It all really just depends on where this line of strong storms is located. Places like Union County, Union Parish, as well as Lincoln Parish, portions of Jackson Parish, you're all in the clear at this time as this line has pushed eastward, and you'll begin to see drier conditions heading into tonight. DeVonte, have they given us any updates on this tornado warning?
No more updates have come in as I'm checking the National Weather Service weather chat.
We're just still monitoring the tornado warning that's currently in place. Broad rotation is still the deal with this storm. As we can see on velocity imagery, this rotation right here is what we are watching just near Bonita in between Oak Grove. And this is all again pushing towards the east. It's still a fast moving cell, so that's why it's best to be in your safe place now if you are within this polygon. Some areas within this polygon, again, Oak Grove, Bonita, Kilburn, you're not within this polygon, but you still want to keep a close eye on this cell as it tracks towards the east and see if it actually holds together. Hopefully it continues to broaden out as we go throughout the next couple of minutes. But for now, while there is some rotation, we are with you on air and online tracking this tornado warned storm. Looking at the big picture, we have this line of showers and storms tracking towards the east and towards our north and west. A lot of communities are no longer dealing with the threat of severe weather. Areas like Union County, parts of, or really all of Union Parish, and even Lincoln Parish, you're not dealing with any severe weather. All of this is pushing towards the east, but the areas that we were just talking about not too long ago, our southeastern communities, that's where we have to watch for that second layer, that split line. In fact, I'm going to step off screen and pause it for you so you can see exactly what I am talking about. We have that secondary line right here is what we have to watch and see if it actually breaks apart as it tracks towards the east. And that's what we have to watch as it taps into the unstable environment. But right now, our concern is still the tornado warning that we have in place where there is a sign of broad rotation. Abby, do you have any updates coming in?
No, but I feel like that rotation may ever so slightly be tightening. Do you notice that slightly?
Ever so slightly. With the radar scans, it juggles back and forth every time we get a radar scan, but it's not too tight, but that's something that we still have to monitor as the afternoon progresses, as this warning continues for parts of the Arklamas. But right now, if you are in places like Oak Grove, and even if you are in Kilburn, it's best to be in your safe place until this storm passes. And again, these storms are moving fast, so do not be in a rush to do what you have to do this afternoon. These storms are fast movers, so they will be out of here in no time. They are tracking towards the east, and this storm, this cell specifically, is tracking towards the east at, I believe, Abby, 45 miles per hour, correct? Towards the east.
Put a query on this storm real quick and let me get with you. Pushing northeast at 60 miles per hour now.
Okay.
Because they just trimmed back that warning. So they've increased the speed on it.
Increase the speed. So these storms are now moving even faster at 60 miles per hour with this tornado warned storm. Now I'm starting to see with this latest scan, rotation is tightening up a little bit, as we can see right a little bit north between Oak Grove and Bonita. Right here is the rotation that we are watching with this cell. I'm going to step off screen. Abby, if you could take it away while I adjust what is currently happening right now.
Okay, well, like DeVonte mentioned, we've got this active tornado warning moving through until 4 p.m. in this afternoon. We may have incorrectly stated that it was moving at 60 miles per hour. That may have been that severe thunderstorm warning just towards the north and the east. So let's get a quick check of this. It's still moving at 45 miles per hour, DeVonte. That was actually a query on the severe thunderstorm warning just off towards the northeast into portions of Arkansas that we saw moving at 60 miles per hour. But definitely these storms are beginning to pack a punch, and they're moving a little bit faster than they were over the past few minutes. So I did want to put a track on this tornado warning that we have going for portions of Morehouse and West Carroll at this time. 345 for Frisk, 350 for Concord, 356 for Terry, Kilbourne at 4:01, Milken at 4:06 p.m., and then Reedland at 4:11, 4:19 Mayersville, and then 4:32 Rolling Fork. So this means that it's beginning to push into portions of Mississippi. So if you know anyone located just over the Mississippi River in portions of like Issaquena or Sharkey counties along the Mississippi River in Mississippi, definitely alert them that this strong storm is beginning to push eastward into their area. But as we take things further southward, still tracking this line of strong storms, they have dropped some of these severe thunderstorm warnings from this line, but still, nonetheless, these are going to be strong and noisy storms that are beginning to move into our eastern parishes. But places like Union County and Union Parish, if you're already behind that line, you're in the clear at this time. It's really our eastern parishes that we're focused on for the threat for severe weather heading into this afternoon. And here's another look at our tornado watch map showing that we do have an active watch until 9 p.m. for the eastern half of the area, western half of the area until 6. Likely many of these are going to be dropped over the next few minutes. We've already seen Lincoln Parish as well as Union County in South Arkansas be dropped from that watch. So that is some good news that we are beginning to see some weakening behind that line, and that's a very good sign for our western communities. But still got this active tornado warning for the next about 20 minutes or so for this is for Morehouse and West Carroll parishes. We're beginning to notice some broad areas of rotation just towards the northwest of Oak Grove, where those blues and greens are beginning to combine right there on radar near Louisiana Highway 835 and Louisiana Highway 585. So if you're located near either one of those highways, safe place now, lowest level, interior room of your house. DeVonte, any updates?
No update specifically regarding this tornado warned storm. I am noticing though the rotation starting to tighten up just a little bit. This rotation here near Oak Grove. I put a track on this cell. It is moving towards the east at 45 miles per hour. Concord, it'll be at you around 345, give or take. Just get to your safe place now if you are in the path of this storm. Terry around 351, and then we start to really get out of the polygon, but you still, if you are ahead of this storm, should get into your safe place, or at least keep a close eye on this cell and see if it holds together as it continues to track towards the east. Kilburn around 356, and then in about an hour we are looking at, or around 401, excuse me, we're looking at Milliken. This storm will be at you around that time. But talking about the rotation, you could see it right here between Oak Grove and Bonita. The rotation, it has tightened a little bit since the last few updates, but the rotation overall is still a bit broad, but we're still watching it just because there is still some rotation involved with this cell as it tracks towards the east. This is currently the only tornado warned storm that we have right now in place across the Ark-Lemis, but as we go throughout the afternoon, of course, we'll continue to monitor and provide updates regarding that storm. Abby?
Well, it looks like they're going to go downstream tornado warning for, let me see, approaching Oak Grove.
Approaching Oak Grove. Okay, so there we go. We have a another update with, there we go. We have that tornado warning right here just to the east. So I'm going to step off screen just so I can update that. Abby, if you have anything you'd like to share, have at it.
Well, let's see. I'm beginning to notice that the storm is kind of cycling ever so slightly, like you've mentioned, where it's beginning to show signs of better rotation and then kind of weaken over the time. But once again, they just extended that warning. This now goes into portions of, let's see, let me do a query on this real quick, and we'll get all the parishes out for you. So we're going to go east and west Carroll as well as Morehouse Parish on this new warning that was just issued that is extended off of this original warning. This rotation moving just off towards the north and the west of Oak Grove, continuing to push off towards the east. Kilbourne, you're likely next, and then it's going to progress, continuing off towards the east as we head into portions of Mississippi. DeVonte, do you have a track on this storm yet?
Putting one now. It is moving to the east at 50 miles per hour. So this is a fast moving storm, as all of the storms this afternoon have been fast moving across the area. I do have a track on this storm now. Concord, we're looking at around 346. So get to your safe place now. Remember, your safe place, it will be the lowest interior part of your home, away from windows, a bathtub, a closet. All of those are good places to take shelter as long as you are away from windows. But Concord around 346, Kilburn around 355, give or take. And as we look further out, outside of the Ark-Lemis region, we are looking at areas towards the north and east, like Irwin around 416. But right now, if you are in the path of this storm, you need to be in your safe place now. We are looking at that rotation, that area of rotation. It has tightened up a little bit, and so that is something that we are certainly watching with that cell. I am also going to take a look at correlation or debris signature just to get an idea of what we have going. Rotation, like I said, it has tightened up, but we still want to take a close look at what's going on with that. All right, and so the only tornado warning we have in place is the one that we are currently monitoring. We will continue to track these storms out on streaming online. Right now, we will go back to regular scheduled programming on KNOE.
This has been a KNOE 8 News Severe Weather Alert.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. If you were following earlier, we're still tracking out this active tornado watch that just has been extended for portions of East and West Carroll parishes, as well as the tail end of Morehouse. This goes until 4:45 p.m. We're back on our streaming services. We've gone to regularly scheduled programming on both of our KNOE and KAQY channels, as we really don't have too many updates with the storm, but we still wanted to provide some updates as we do have active weather moving through the Arklamas at this time. So we've got this warning that has been issued for the tail end of Morehouse Parish, as well as portions of East and West Carroll parishes. That's where we're beginning to notice some areas of rotation. More specifically, near the Kilbourne area is where I'm beginning to see those red and green colors come together. This is continuing to push off towards the east. And as we put a track on it, DeVonte, you said it was moving at 50 miles per hour, correct?
Yes.
Okay. This storm is moving off towards the east at 50 miles per hour. So as we pull that track out, let's see, let's zoom it out just a little bit so we can get a better view of that storm. We're putting a track on this storm moving off towards the east at 50 miles per hour. Going to be near Kilbourne at 3:51 p.m., near Reedland at 3:59, Chatham at 4:08 p.m., Foote at 4:12, Sago at 4:19, Hollandale 4:26. And then we'll continue to track it into Mississippi after that. It's been a pretty active day for us across the Arklamas. We've already seen a few warnings be issued. If you remember, this storm actually came out of Union Parish, showing signs of rotation near Farmerville, and it's continued to show signs of rotation as it's pushed off towards the east, and we're now in portions of Morehouse, West and East Carroll parishes. But as we take a wider view of the storms, some good news to report. We're beginning to see this line weaken ever so slightly. Still some stronger storms embedded in that, but we only have one severe thunderstorm warning out for portions of Wynn Parish at this time as that line continues to push eastward. And then we've also got this one tornado warning that goes for about another hour or so here in portions of Morehouse and East and West Carroll parishes. So I did want to turn back to this tornado watch graphic. I think they were allowing some of these watches to be expired. Yep, there we go. Let's see. They have, this graphic has not updated, but they have let portions of Union Parish underneath this tornado watch be allowed to expire. So we've got Lincoln, Union, as well as Union County in South Arkansas already expired from this. So watch, we're just waiting on this graphic to update, but still, western half of the area along and south of the I-20 corridor, you're still underneath this watch until 6 p.m., 9 p.m. for the eastern half of the area. But like we've mentioned before, once this line crosses your area, you're really in the clear from any type of severe weather. It's crossed much of the Arklamas already. We're just waiting on it to cross some of our eastern parishes right along the Mississippi River border. I did want to take a look at this storm near Oak Grove. Seems a little bit stronger. Let's see if this storm, what they're showing. So that one is going to expire at 4 p.m. and that's why they issued that second tornado warning just right next to it. So let's take a look at this right now, and it looks like most of Morehouse at this point is out of that warning. Is that correct, DeVonte? that Morehouse is pretty much out of this?
Yes, they canceled the tornado warning for Morehouse. I think it's just delayed with not popping up on our velocity thing.
Okay, like DeVonte mentioned, they canceled that one near Morehouse, but still tracking some signs of rotation moving in near Kilbourne at this time. That's where they have that tornado warning out for. Now, this storm near Oak Grove is showing some stronger signs, but we aren't seeing any signs of rotation at this time, which is some good news. Currently likely producing some small hail within the storm near the Oak Grove area, just south of that actually. And that's where we're beginning to see some small hail likely falling within the storm. We can't get maybe a pea-sized hail or so within that cell right there. But the bigger story is this area of rotation that we have near Kilbourne that we are continuing to watch as it moves off towards the east. DeVonte, what are you seeing?
Rotation it's a bit broad, but it's there, definitely there. You can see that as it pushes into West Carroll Parish, or excuse me, East Carroll Parish. Right now, we can see it near Kilbourne. And so that's the cell that we are watching between Kilbourne and Oak Grove. And it looks like it could be possibly two areas of rotation to watch, the one that is near Kilbourne and the area that is near Oak Grove.
Yeah, I was seeing some signs of maybe some rotation. It wasn't too defined near Oak Grove this time, but I was picking up on that ever so slightly.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I'm seeing, but both areas of rotation are broad.
Yes, that's what I was noticing in these cells, is that they're pretty broad. It's pretty broad right now, but it's beginning, which is some good news, beginning to show some slight signs of weakening, but still looking at that area of rotation. It looks like that area of rotation, what did you say, is right on those two warning boxes?
Yes.
Yes, that's where we're both beginning to see some signs of slight rotation, is just east of the Oak Grove area, right along those two warning boxes. DeVonte, do you think you could circle that area on our radar?
Yes, let me try to pull it up, see what we have here. Okay, we'll have a pointer so we can show you exactly what we're talking about. This area right here near Oak Grove, and then we have also this area like right up in here near Kilbourne. These are the two areas that looks like possible signs of rotation, but they're both broad. But still, just because we do have those two areas of rotations, we do have a tornado warning in place, and we are monitoring those two areas.
Yes, that's right, DeVonte. Showing some broad signs of rotation in those two areas DeVonte mentioned earlier. But I did want to see if we could, one of the directors, pull up our tower cam. So, because we've got some good news for the west half of the area. As you look at our tower cam right there, this is viewing south, correct, DeVonte?
Yes, south of Oliver.
South of Oliver, we're beginning to see some clearing taking place behind that line that moved through. So quiet conditions are beginning to move into the western half of the area, but still, eastern half, you've still got some time to go as this line continues to progress through your area. So if we could turn things back to radar now, I wanted to take a little bit of a wider view and show you what we've got going on right now. Okay, so we're back on a radar, and as this line progresses off towards the east, there have been some slight weakening with the cells that are moving off towards the east. Really not seeing much in the way of warnings right now, except for that one warning in Wynn Parish, as well as the warnings in East and West Carroll parishes. Wouldn't you say, DeVonte?
Yes, correct. Checking the National Weather Service weather chat out of Jackson, and for the tornado warrant line segment in West and East Carroll, two areas of concern. First in the north, most near and southeast of Kilburn, the other is east of Oak Grove. So the National Weather Service is also agreeing with what we are seeing with those two areas of rotation.
Yes, like DeVonte mentioned, they're beginning to agree with what we've been seeing over the past few minutes on our weather radar system, that we are beginning to see two areas of rotation, one east of Oak Grove and then one near Kilburn.
Yes, and I can point that out for you. We have this area of rotation right here, just north of Lake Providence or north of Forest. And then we have this area of rotation here just north of, or really right over Kilburn. So these are the two areas that we are monitoring within this tornado warning. And so if you are within this tornado warrant, this polygon rather, you need to be in your safe place. So that's anywhere from Lake Providence all the way to Kilburn, and even further towards the east outside of the Arklamis region, you need to be in your safe place until we give you the all clear. I do want to put a track on this cell, but because it is two areas of rotation, we can't really put a well-defined track on this cell. But if you are within this path of both of these storms, you need to be in your safe place, lowest interior part of your home, away from windows. Now, we just got a latest track. We just gotten a radar scan on the rotation that we are currently seeing, and right now it looks like it has just broadened out a little bit, but this rotation that is just north of Kilburn, it looks like it's still trying to show signs of tightening up in terms of rotation. Abby?
Yes, that I have to agree with that, DeVonte. It definitely does look like that area of rotation between Oak Grove and Lake Providence. Let me move this just ever so slightly so you can see that a little bit better. Right here, in between Oak Grove and Lake Providence, where those blue and green colors are, that is where we're tracking some broad areas of rotation moving closer to the Louisiana Highway 582. That'll continue to push off towards the east. Then we also have the second area of rotation that we're watching. This is now pushed into portions of South Arkansas. So this is exiting our area at this time. So really only watching this one area of broad rotation right between Oak Grove and Lake Providence. This will continue to progress eastward, and it will likely cross over the Mississippi River in the next few minutes. So we'll continue to keep you updated as the storm moves out. Let's see if we've got any more updates on whether or not they've canceled any more tornado watches. Okay, we don't have any more watches canceled just yet, but still have those three out there for Union, Lincoln, and Union County in South Arkansas. All of those have been canceled, but we're still on the lookout for strong storms on the eastern half of the area as we head into the rest of the afternoon. It's currently 4 p.m. They've let that tornado warning for portions of West Carroll be expired, but we're still watching this area of rotation right between Oak Grove and Lake Providence. DeVonte?
Okay, so the tornado warning for West Carroll has expired, or has been allowed to expire. We just received that in the weather chat from the National Weather Service.
Yeah, well, that's Definitely some good news right there. So it looks like things are slightly calming down, but we're still tracking that area of broad rotation. The one near Kilbourne has exited our viewing area and has pushed into Arkansas at this time. Still tracking that area of rotation in between Oak Grove and Lake Providence. Still showing some broad signs of rotation, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I will say there's still some signs of broad rotation still north of Kilburn and just north of Lake Providence. But both areas of rotation are broad rotation. And that's what we want to see. We do not want to see tight rotation with these two cells. But because we do have still some rotation, we do have a tornado warning in place. So if you are in areas like Lake Providence, you need to be in your safe place until we give you the all clear. These storms are moving fast towards the east, and so they will be out of here in no time. But if you are in that warning, you need to be in your safe place.
Yes, that's right. If you are located in East or West Carroll parishes in that red box underneath that warning, safe place now, away from windows, lowest level of your home. And if you have anything to cover your head, grab that as you get ready to head into your safe place as this broad area of rotation continues to develop and move through portions of East and West Carroll parishes right between Oak Grove and Lake Providence. DeVonte?
Yes, and another thing I want to point out, I've said it probably several times this afternoon, but just because there's not a confirmed tornado on the ground does not mean that these storms are not packing a punch. We have gusty winds with these storms, with the possibility of these storms producing damaging wind gusts at that. And so with that being said, that's why you should be indoors, away from windows, lowest interior part of your home, because these storms are packing a punch with those strong winds. But we are watching these two areas of rotation, as you can see, just south of Eudora or north of Kilburn. And then we have this area just north of Lake Providence that we are watching. Two areas of broad rotation continue to track towards the east. Right now, like I said, not overly concerned when we are talking about rotation because it's so broad, but because we still have rotation, it is a tornado warning and it is still in place until what time, Abby, we have this tornado warning in place?
Let's see. Let's do a query. I believe it's 4:45. But let's check on that. Yeah, 4:45.
4:45, and it is a good possibility that this tornado warning expires or is canceled way before 4:45. As you can see, it is slowly, or should I say, it is on its way out of parts of East Carroll Parish, but we're still monitoring this cell that is just north of Lake Providence. The cell that was north of Kilburn, as you can see, it is gradually weakening, but we are still watching this area of broad rotation just north of Lake Providence.
Yes, that's right, DeVonte. This is gradually beginning to exit East Carroll Parish at this time. So
Yes.
It's really that back line that we need to watch as this storm likely begins to exit the Arklamas.
And this is what Abby is talking about. You see this line of showers and thunderstorms continue to work towards the east. The good news is that with this widespread rain pushing through our eastern communities, it is a good chance that it is stabilizing our atmosphere, which will allow for the threat of severe weather to diminish slightly this afternoon. But we still have to watch out for the possibility of some of these storms becoming strong to severe as they push towards the east. But behind this line, we are seeing some improvements, including here in the city of Monroe. But these storms are still producing a lot of rain, heavy rain at that, lots of lightning. And also we are looking at that threat of, or we have that tornado threat in place for parts of the region where we do have a tornado warning in place for parts of West Carroll in a corner of East West Carroll and in portions of West Carroll parishes until 4:45.
Yes, that's right, DeVonte. We've got about 40 more minutes on this active storm, but it's really about to cross the Mississippi River, so it's honestly beginning to exit the Arklamas at this time.
Yes, but do not let your guard down. We still have tornado watches in place for our western communities until 6, I believe. And then for our eastern communities, it runs until 9. But how fast these storms are moving, it's a good chance that we see a lot of this exit the region way before 9 and really well before 8 as these storms are pushing east of Monroe.
And yeah, that's right, DeVonte. I have been looking at velocity and it's showing some like signs of weakening, rapid weakening at that. Really not seeing much in the way of rotation at this time. Maybe some slight rotation, but nothing too impressive to me. What are you thinking about that?
No, looking at velocity, rotation, yeah, it's still quite broad. North of Lake Providence, but because we still have some rotation, this is what we are looking at, this area right here between Kilburn and Lake Providence. Because there's still some rotation, we are still keeping a close eye on this cell as it makes its way out of East Carroll Parish.
Yeah, that's right. I did want to take a broader view, if we could, and show what's coming behind that. Honestly, a lot of this behind that has begun to weaken significantly. Aren't you noticing that, DeVonte?
I am, and that's because a lot of the rain that is pushing through, and especially the storms that push through a little bit earlier ahead of the main line, has zapped a little bit of the energy from what is pushing through right now. And so we are starting to see that trend with the storm starting to weaken some as we tap into a lot of the rain that is pushing through. But we still have to keep an eye on the storms that are pushing through out the area towards the east, because they can still tap into what's left in the atmosphere. And that's why we have that tornado watch in place. And that's why we currently have a tornado warning in place for parts of the region. And you know, thankfully, as of now, we have not had any confirmed tornadoes. Of course, any damage that is out there, the National Weather Service team will survey the damage that is out there. But luckily, as of now, we have not heard of any major damage. We did have some damage reports coming in, but we have not heard of any injuries or things of that nature. So that is always good news when we don't have any injury reports coming out of these storms. But still, if you are in the path of these storms, at least this storm that is pushing towards the east, this tornado warrant storm, you need to be in your safe place. This storm is again north of Lake Providence, or the rotation that is just north of Lake Providence. Abby, do you have any updates regarding this storm?
We don't, but it looks to me though, let me know your opinion on this, that this area of rotation is beginning to cross over the Mississippi River.
Yes, it is gradually making its way out of the Arklamis region and will eventually cross over the Mississippi River. But we still have to, of course, be on guard with this cell, as it is still pushing through parts of the Arklamis over here in East Carroll Parish. And so that's why we are still keeping you up to date on what's going on. This is the only tornado warrant storm that is in place across the Arklamis. A lot of the activity we're seeing are just strong thunderstorms that are pushing through, and we also have a lot of lightning associated with these storms. I took the lightning imagery off of here just to show you what's happening rain and storm wise, just because it can be a little bit noisy, but we are picking up a lot of lightning with these storms as they track towards the east. So now is not a good time to be outdoors if these storms are pushing through your neck of the woods. And they're also producing heavy rainfall as well, but we are monitoring the tornado warning that is in place for parts of West and East Carroll parishes.
Yes, that's right, DeVonte. I feel like it's more of an East Carroll Parish threat at this time. And it's beginning to cross the Mississippi River. If you could turn to velocity, show that. It looks like it may be like right along the Mississippi River at this time, really beginning to more so exit East Carroll.
I could definitely see the National Weather Service trimming this warning back, as I do agree. I do see it beginning to exit East Carroll Parish. But until the warning is
canceled or expires, we will be here with you providing the update on what we are seeing. But right now, rotation is broad, and it does look like it is pushing eastward out of the Arklamis region.
Yes, that's right, DeVonte, but we still have to be on guard for active storms going into this afternoon as that line continues to progress off towards the east. It looks like that main line may be weakening ever so slightly and just producing some strong thunderstorms, but really not many warnings out there, just that one tornado warning moving out of East Carroll Parish. We still do have this tornado watch though out for 9 p.m. eastern half of the area, 6 for the western half of the area south of the I-20 corridor. Union Parish and Union County just removed from that, as well as Lincoln Parish at this time. DeVonte, do you mind asking the National Weather Service in Jackson to see what their thoughts are on letting the tornado warning go for East Carroll, as that area of rotation we've been tracking is beginning to exit the region, at least our region, and move into portions of Mississippi. So DeVonte is to check on that real quick, but it looks like if there is any rotation now, that this may be into portions of Mississippi at this time, maybe right along the river just north of Mayersville, moving just towards the north of Rolling Fork, which is some good news for them as they were really shattered by a very large tornado about 2 years ago that moved through during the springtime of 2023. So good news out for them, but still they're underneath that warning as well. So can't let their guard down either. But still be ready, be prepared for some strong storms that may still happen as we head into this afternoon. But good news is that once you're behind this line, really the severe threat is basically over for the day. We're already beginning to see some clearing. If we could take our Creed and Creed Tower Cam, if one of the directors could pull that up and into our stream right there, we can see that the clouds are still moving through, but we're beginning to see some sunshine behind that. Looks like we just got some updates, and let's see what's going on.
They beat me to it.
Okay, so they're continuing for East Carroll, canceling for West Carroll.
Yes.
But it really looks to me like the threat for East Carroll is pretty much over for.
Yeah, it's winding down. The rotation that I am seeing is not as tight as what it would need to be overly concerned. But because there's still a little bit of rotation, we still have that warning in place for parts of East Carroll Parish. And let me check to see if the time has been extended or if it's continued to be until, let's see. Tornado warning.
It looks like they're just going with 45 after to me, but let's query it real quick and see.
Yes,
because
4:45.
Okay, 4:45. Yeah, the briefing didn't really include that very well, but once we put a query on that storm, 4:45 for East Carroll, but really that the strongest portion of that storm has exited that area. Wouldn't you say so?
I would agree. I think any rotation that we are seeing with this storm would be just right here near Mayersville.
This is the rotation that we are watching, but I do see this moving out of the region in the next couple of minutes. And the rotation is broad, which is great news, but just have to watch this for our friends off towards the east over in Mississippi. But here in the Arklamas in Louisiana, we are starting to see that area of broad rotation make its way towards the east outside of the Arklamas region.
Yeah, I would agree with that, DeVonte. It really looks like it's beginning to weaken. And do you think we're going to stay on for very much longer?
I don't think we'll be on for too long. I know this warning is set to expire around 4:45, and as you can see with the latest scan, it's even more broad in those areas. So I do see this warning being canceled before 4:45, but we have to see what the National Weather Service out in Jackson, what they will do with this tornado warned storm.
Yeah, that's right. They just clipped it ever so slightly in their last update. It really only includes a very small corner of East Carroll at this time.
Yes, and the rotation that we're seeing, as you can see, it's mainly out of the Arklamas region at this time. And so we have to see if they actually trim this warning back even further as we go throughout the next couple of minutes. But for now, we still have that tornado warning in place.
Right now, we're going to go ahead and after these last scans, really not seeing much in the way of rotation, I think we're going to go ahead and hop off and continue to provide updates throughout the rest of the afternoon on social media.